Which permanent machine should you get? Today we're actually going to be talking about the different machines, not all of them, but we have 3 solid options here for a permanent jewelry business. So I'm Jake Randolph with Linked Permanent Jewelry Training, and we have a permanent jewelry expert here, Terry Berry.
Hi, how are y'all doing?
Awesome. So we're actually finishing up an event here where, how many bracelets have you done the past 2 days, 3 days?
I lost count somewhere. The first night we never stopped, and then all day yesterday from 9 to 6 we never stopped, and then today I finally got to take lunch. So
yep, so almost slave labor here, but the cool thing is we got to test, and I mean, you've already tested all these machines yourself. You've been using them for years. How long have you been in business?
I've been in business over 2 years.
Awesome. And so if you're currently watching this, I'm curious, what machine do you use right now? And obviously if you're looking into starting a business, you haven't got one yet. So let's talk about the differences. So we have our budget machine here. This is, you know, on Facebook groups, they call it the Unbranded. You know, at Linked, we call it the Deluxe. Have you seen any other names for this one?
There's variations of it, different colors that other people have slapped their name on, but they're all pretty much the same machine. The only difference with you guys is you test your machines before they go out, and you provide a warranty. So I tell people when they're looking at buying the Unbranded machine, you want to go through Linked because you get some kind of warranty, where if you buy it off Amazon or any of the other places, you don't get that warranty.
Yeah. And that is the thing about these machines, they're made in China, and so, you know, even when we're testing them out, sometimes we find ones that don't work and we leave those. We obviously don't send those to our students. And so you definitely want to go through a company that tests them out and has a warranty if you're going to go with the budget option. Now, is this the one you started with?
Yeah, that is my actual machine that I've used for 2 years in the field. And I mean, I do a ton of big festivals and pop-ups, and it looks great. I mean, for the amount of wear and tear being tossed around and carried around, it looks really good.
Yeah, and so I think this is a good budget option to start with. Like I got my sister-in-law on this, my mother-in-law. She also started on this, and we have, you know, over 1,000 students in Linked who did start with this. Now, what I would typically tell people if they ask me, and you can, you know, tell me if you disagree, but I would say, like, if you're on an extremely tight budget, yeah, go with this, start with it, start making money, and then you can upgrade to one of these nicer options in the future. Do you agree with that?
Oh, that's exactly what I did. I had this one for 2 years, and I would still be using it, but then the Helix came out, this little guy, and I thought it was cute, and you know how girls are, we gotta have cute stuff. And so I upgraded to it. I still have it. I won't sell it. It's my backup machine. God forbid something should happen to this. I will always have my backup. You do not want to be in an event and have a ton of people there, and then all of a sudden your machine's not working for whatever reason. Somebody knocks it off the table or whatever. You want to have a backup because that's money lost.
Yep. Now, if you are someone who can maybe afford $500 or $600 more, I'd recommend going with one of these 2 options. So what do we have here? We have the Sunstone Zapp Plus, and we have the Pepe Tools Helix. These are both, and like I said, this is why I'm bringing on the expert, because I don't do the welding myself. I mean, obviously I listen to the feedback of our thousands of students who do, but I want to bring you on. So you said you've used both of these. You know, what are the main differences between we'll call these mid-tier, because they're not the most expensive out there, but they're also not the budget version. So what are the difference between the mid-tier and the budget?
I will say this, when I started, it was this or a $2,900 welder.
Right.
That's why I went with this, because there was no middle of the road option. Had these 2 been available, I would have picked between them because it's middle of the road.
Right.
So the main difference between them is the controls. This one has, I like to refer to it as like an egg timer dial.
Yeah.
It rotates. This one has push buttons. If I get my fingers on them, you'll hear it. So it's not like you can just do this and change it. You have to click it.
Gotcha.
For me, someone who gets the cord wrapped up and stuff, that has saved me a ton of headaches. I like this machine. I was sent it to test out and review. I think it's a great machine. For some people, white is their aesthetic. You know, it fits in with theirs. Black fits in more with mine. That one's got a little bit bigger footprint than this one. But do I think it's huge? No, because I went from this.
Yeah,
so,
they're both, these machines, like this is, I don't know the exact weight, but
I think
they're very
that
light.
one is 1.6 or 1.7 pounds, and this one's 2.
Okay,
it's just
awesome.
A smaller footprint.
And if you're wondering what these are actually additional upgrades. And so, for example, in our starter kits, you wouldn't get these. You'd have to order these directly from as an accessory. And so can you tell us a little bit about what these screens do?
Yeah, these are ADL screens. So they're automatic dimming lenses. I have always used glasses, but I'm a glass wearer, and then I would scratch my lenses, and I have progressives, no line bifocals, and so they're expensive. So when I bought the Helix, this wasn't available yet. Then this became available, and I was like, oh, I need it. So I spent $249.99, I think it is, and it has been great. And then I was sent that to test out, and so that is the Sunstone Zapp Plus that I'm referring to, and they're ADL. So a little bit of size difference in the screens. There are a lot more lights under them, under that one than this one. You can see there's just two little strips of light, and then on that one there are rows and rows of. Right. So it's brighter. The screen is clearer on that one. The price tag's $500 on that one. But for portability, if you're like, you just want something that compacts down and to carry, this to me is so innovative.
Gotcha. Does this one do that?
No.
Okay.
You can literally unscrew the knob on the side, pull it off, take it off that way, but that's a lot of extra work. This one's lighter to carry than that one, but I have found I choose that screen over this screen because it's more clear and it's easier to see through. This one has more of a green tint to it. It's just like the green glasses. So what happens is you get that green tint, and this is feedback I've given to Pepe. They know what I've said. They both have stylus holders. That's what this hole in the back is. So you just take your stylus and stick it in here. That one has one in the top there. And then this is the stand that comes with the Helix. I don't have the stand that comes with the Zapp Plus because they didn't send it to me, because they sent that for me to try.
Yeah, so basically, like, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like if you want a little bit bigger screen and something that's a little bit more stationary, this is a great way to go. If you want something that's a little bit more portable with a smaller screen though, then maybe go with that.
And they're great because the circuit board inside these machines sends the signal to that it's gonna fire, and the screen blanks out, just like a welding helmet. So it protects your eyes.
These two machines are both from great, very reputable companies. I have a great relationship with both, Sunstone and Pepe Tools. And so based on our thousands of students and reviews and stuff, they have great customer service. So let's say, this machine or that, you ever have a malfunction, which, even though these are great products, like even, Apple products like malfunction from time to time, you just never know.
Android.
She's making fun of me because I'm an Apple person, but even all the products in the world could malfunction. You want to have a company that backs their products, and both of these companies back their products. I've literally seen people post on Facebook messages, hey, my machine broke, or it's messed up, or it's not firing, and immediately the owners of the companies or a representative are like, hey, contact us right now, we'll send you a new one, or we'll send you a replacement. And
so we'll troubleshoot it with you. And in fact, I'm sure Jake won't mind me saying this, I have a group on Facebook for this machine, and I have a group for this machine because I own them outright, and I know these machines. If I ever buy a Zapp, I would have a group just for that. And the reason I have those is so you can go in there and ask specific questions, and you don't get people saying, oh, well, you should have bought this, or you should have bought that. You don't want to hear that. When you need help, you want help. So I kind of made those groups. And in fact, Jake's in my groups because he does sell them and he's very aware of them. And if somebody asked me to place one above the other, I couldn't do it.
Right. And so compared to the budget option to one of these, do you notice a difference in the actual quality of the welds?
Yeah, I'm a big argon person. There are people out there that don't think it's that important, but we are doing TIG welding. So it's tungsten, which is our needles out of the end of the stylus, and inert gas, which is your argon gas. Argon gas is not flammable, because I hear people go, well, what if it blows up? It's not flammable, but I find this machine, because you can't fine tune it as well, like as far as power, you can do 1 and 3 as the lowest. You tend to blow through 26 gauge jump rings, and you need those for some of the finer rings. And I would blow through those jump rings and get frustrated. And then once you get frustrated, you start troubleshooting. You start going, okay, what do I need to do different?
Right.
I kind of figured it out, but I still had issues. When I switched over to the Helix and even test driving that one, I took it to a big festival. I find this being able to, dial down to what I need, I can avoid that. Also, too, if you're blowing through jump rings that it's not a power issue, you need to make sure they're closed all the way. And you need to dial your gas down, because some people are running at 7 to 10. And that's great if you're doing like 20 gauge rings. But when you do 26 gauge rings, what you're doing is you're blowing all the power right past right through that ring. So if you dial it down to about a 5, you'll find you put blown through rings quicker.
Awesome. If you're enjoying these tips, let us know in the comments below. So what questions do you guys have of the machines? We'd love to know. But Terry, what else should we cover? Like, we've covered some of the differences. What are the similarities? They all take argon, right?
Yes, they're all argon capable. Please do not buy a welder that doesn't have that capability, because if you ever want to add it later, you can't. Portability for these two is about the same.
Yep, very light.
Yeah, they're very nice to pack up. This one I put in the bottom of a Craftsman Versa stack, DERSA stack. There's your plug, Craftsman. And we kept it that way and kept it clean and nice. I mean, it's in good shape for 2 years. As far as commonalities, these two welds are so pretty. They're just smooth and like, it's what you want for your customers. This one will do it, but you have to learn how metal's going to react to it, so it takes more practice.
Both of these have a longer warranty than this one. 3-year warranty on these, whereas this one's only a 6-month warranty. So definitely, you know, consider that when you're budgeting out. Like I said, this is a great budget option, but if you can spend a little bit more money on this, you're going to be protected for up to 3 years versus just 6 months. Yeah, so another thing we have is actual financing. So whether you're wanting to go more a budget option, or you could get very low payments on these with our financing. So we do finance through a firm, and so I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but you're looking at payments probably as low as, you know, $150 or less a month. And so definitely check those out. As far as, you know, power, do they all take the same like power supplies?
Yeah, I do not use a gas generator, and the reason being, like, we've been indoors this whole time. They would have thrown us out of here for that. There's a Jackery, and then I use one called a Gercell. It's Gercell. It's off of Amazon. It's less expensive. We've been welding all weekend, and I have 65% left. And you saw how many pieces I was doing. So that's pretty darn good for nonstop welding.
Yeah, because you were welding like 8 hours a day.
Oh yeah,
So.
I felt it yesterday.
All right, so in summary, you know, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these. Especially going through links. Like I said, do not buy this off Amazon. This one, do not buy it off a random Facebook group, because, you know, even if someone's, you know, honest and selling something to you in a Facebook group, you know, they might ship it to you and it gets damaged. And if you don't go through a legit company like Linked, you know, you're not going to be covered for damage. Like, you're going to be out of luck. And so definitely make sure with any of these, you're going through someone like Linked.
I wouldn't buy a used welder from anyone, because there is the possibility that there's a circuit board issue from it being improperly shipped, and you could throw a big spark and hurt somebody. So for me, I'm going to go with a reputable company. I'm going to make sure that I have the best of the best for my clients, because you get it back. And that's the other thing too, is I've been asked all weekend, when you started, how long did it take you to get your training and your machine back? I made it back in my first event, and
nice.
I worked my butt off, but I did. And so for me, I've heard Amanda say this weekend, if you don't make your money back in the first month, you need to get with Beauty Biz Pro and figure out what you're doing wrong.
Yep. Because the potential with permanent jewelry is amazing. You just got to get in front of customers.
Oh, yeah.
And so as far as the stylus links, are they about the same length?
I think they are. I know for a fact that the Helix is 42 inches.
Yeah, it looks like they're about the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
There's only like 2 or 3 inch difference. It's not that big.
And so
You can, for the Zapp Plus, not the Zapp, but the Zapp Plus, you can get an adapter to make that a 6-foot cord.
Okay.
The new Helix 2.0 that's out, this is the first generation, has a 6-foot cord on it. And that's back to these companies listen, because when I reviewed this, I gave them a list of the cons, and they incorporated everything back into the new machine for,
Right.
you know, based on my recommendation. And I've done a review for them, and they actually took it and are looking at what they can incorporate cost-wise. You know, everything's cost.
yeah, and that's honestly why I love having multiple companies, you know, building machines, because, you know, competition raises quality. And so, you know, these are competitors, but they just continue to improve, and that's good for you guys, the consumers.
And competition drives down prices.
Exactly. And
Because
so
we didn't have this option 2 years ago.
no, back when we started 2 years ago, it was the Orion Impulse 30 or this. And so you were looking at either like $2,600 or $500.
Well, back then, remember, it was $2,900.
Yeah, so, you know, now we have mid-range options. Now, we haven't mentioned the high-range options. What are those?
We've got the Orion Impulse and the Orion PJ. They're both great machines. I've used friends of mine's machines that have them. I like the way they weld. They're portable. They have touch screens. I'm not a fan of touch screens. I've said this to them because you'll hear people say that the stylus board bump them and it changes settings. They do have a lock that you can use to lock that screen from that happening, but then you have to turn it off to weld. So there's give and take there. They both weld beautifully. They're both argon compatible. They're both portable. They're kind of this size, but taller. The Orion PJ, you can change the color of the screen so it can fit more into your branding, which I think is cool because I'm all about branding. He'll tell you I'm all about branding.
And the PJ was the one, like, so the Impulse 30 is at least 2 years old. The PJ is the one that was announced last year at PJX, the Permajoy Expo. So those are all great options. If I was going to pick between one of those two, I would go with the PJ because newer technology versus the Impulse 30.
And it was made just for permanent jewelry.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, we have these here at the show. But if you want to see a review on the Orion PJ and the Impulse 30, leave a comment below. If we have enough interest, we'll do a review on those.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And is there anything else that we want to cover with these machines?
Just that if you're going to do PJ, I can't stress enough that great training is so key. And you know, I took 2 other training courses, and when I met Jake, he asked me to review their training because I review machines for companies. And I did, and even though I'd been welding for 2 years, I think I told you this, I still learned a few things, which was shocking to me because I thought I pretty much knew everything there was to know about this industry. So Sarah does a really good job on the videos, your co-founder. She does a great job at explaining things, and if you don't understand things, they have an amazing student-only group, and the people in there are nice, they're supportive, and I know you hear that from everybody, but honestly, Jake and Sarah do not handle any nonsense. Like, you be nasty to people, you're out, like you're gone. That support group is amazing, and the fact that you and Sarah are in there answering questions really added value to me, and that knowing that when I recommend a training group like Linked, I know that the owners care. It's just like Pepe and Sunstone. I know the owners answer direct questions and they care. And if they didn't care, they wouldn't be in these groups and they wouldn't be answering questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this review. And like we said, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and comment below if you have any more questions. And you'll be watching the comments, right?
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.